What's the difference between Agent 47 and James Bond? Think about it. Both are secret agents, good at social interaction, and proficient in the very slow route. Although there are some obvious distinctions. 47 is an assassin, he's actually a clone, and Bond, well, he has hair. We can call it a draw, but it's only on the surface. The real difference is in improvisation.
What? Ken Banks, penetration tester. I need to have a stern word with your manager.
Good to have you on the team.
You see, Agent 47 was created to be a perfect killer. His nature is reflected in game mechanics, voiceover and animations. No matter what he does, he always looks together. Perhaps initially, a modest set of animations was done for the sake of budget, but now it's a part of Agent 47's identity, and it always feels like he can't be surprised. In comparison, James Bond is often emotional. He makes spontaneous decisions, mistakes, and tries to find solutions on the fly. It's not only because of the mentioned differences with Agent 47, but also because Bond is such a character. Circumstances around him change all the time. Sometimes it's not even his fault, but that's definitely a part of his charm, to come up with creative or even pretentious solutions. That's why Hitman gameplay represents in box. Its main character is like an eagle who seeks the perfect opportunity to strike. It's not he who's locked up with his goals, but they are. There is one bold exception in this game series, but we'll get to it. And my main concern about the new 007 game after its announcement in 2020 was how the developers who mostly worked on a sandbox simulator of an assassin game can possibly make a more focused bright spy action about the charismatic agent of MI6. The 007 formula we've seen in the movies doesn't suit IOI's portfolio very much, but the developers made something spectacular right after the first trailer shown last summer. They introduced a free mission for the Hitman World of Assassination, and it dispelled all my doubts.
Be warned, Le Chiffre is calculating and ruthless. He will not go down without a fight. Good luck.
This free mission is called The Banker and inspired by the Casino Royale movie. And you may have a valid question, what's so unique about that? The developers are well known for their time-limited contracts with cameos like Sean Bean or Jean-Claude Van Damme, so they just decided to advertise their new game. It's true, but there is one moment in this mission which stands out from general Hitman gameplay. To get to that, we'll have to break down the mission into 3 parts. During the introduction, the player explores the mission's goal, to outplay Le Chiffre, and the environment, the casino placed in the first mission Paris. The main task of this part is to get access to the VIP room where Le Chiffre is. In order to accomplish that, the player needs to get an invitation in one of possible ways: by winning a secondary game, eliminating an additional target, or poisoning one of the main NPCs. So far, that's pretty much basic Hitman gameplay with a variety of choices. Maybe just a little bit more focused and directed, but it can be written off to the fact that it's a time-limited mission. The most interesting starts in the second part, when a player is escorted to the top floor of the building to participate in a closed game with the Chiffre himself. And just like in a movie, he misleads the player and Agent 47 gets poisoned.
Are you feeling okay? You look a little pale. You should never accept a drink from a stranger.
At this point, gameplay drastically changes. The player gets only around a minute to find the antidote, which is placed outside the building. To make it in time, they must recall the structure of the map and get to the parking lot in the fastest way. It's hard to call this task a typical Hitman experience. The player doesn't have time to make plans and is forced to improvise to reach the only one clear goal. It narrows down this distinctive rare beauty, but instead provides fresh and unique player experience by forcing them to make quick decisions, which is very similar to the types of situations James Bond would typically find himself in. To make this task fair, the developers made 2 important things. Firstly, they reused the location of the very first campaign mission, which most players are familiar with. Secondly, the introduction part of the mission allows the player to slowly get used to the environment and remember the way Agent 47 was escorted to the VIP room. Even considering these factors, there is not much time and everything should be done perfectly to get the antidote. I didn't manage to make it on the first try. That's why this part has two outcomes. If the player doesn't reach the stash on time, he gets unconscious and wakes up in the basement for the Schiffer's interrogation. In the end, Agent 47 gets help from his old friend Agent Smith, and right after that moment, the second part ends. Then the player can continue playing Hitman without any new unexpected events.
Finally get to be the one saving you. I mean, how many times have you bailed me out? There was Hong Kong, Romania, St. Petersburg, Hokkaido.
Agent Smith.
Oh, sorry. Got carried away. Let me untie you.
It's a pretty linear section with several outcomes based on the player's actions. It distinguishes the mission from the other ones in Hitman, and such types of situations we can see in the latest 007 First Light gameplay presentation. I also believe that the strict timing was done in order to let more players experience interrogation, no matter how it sounds, and listen to this cocky dialogue between Le Chiffre and Agent 47.
Right. If that's how it's gonna be, you are giving me no option but to take more extreme measure.
I'm sure I can handle it.
Don't be too sure. I've picked up a thing or two over the years that have proven quite effective.
Why don't you show me?
You are something.
The last conclusion part allows the player to take revenge on Le Chiffre and finally outplay him in poker, condemning him to death at the same time.
A straight flush. Monsieur Reaper wins the pot. Good game, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it can't be.
Or the player is able to complete the contract in any other way. For example, I was able to dress up as a croupier, take Le Chiffre to a separate room and finish the task. I believe there are more possible ways to do it, but playing poker is the most spectacular one.
It's pathetic. Goodbye, Chief. See you in hell.
Congratulations, 47. Target has been eliminated. Find an exit. Your money is being transferred now.
And don't be deceived. During the whole mission, Hitman's basic game mechanics are in place. You can ignore mentioned opportunities and directed ways of eliminating Le Chiffre and just shoot or push him from the roof.
Congratulations, 47. Target has been eliminated.
You can call me crazy, but it seems to me that this mission was a free beta of 007 First Light made inside IOI Interactive's previous game. Okay, I don't know whether it was done on purpose or it's just my imagination, but I have some kind of proof. When IOI Interactive were pitching 007 First Light, they put Daniel Craig's head on Agent 47 and played Sapienza level from Hitman. Such a genius pitch got them the license to start working on a game, so they already use Hitman to pitch the new 007 game. Why not make the same trick with players? This mission at some point breaks the main game rules and provides a different player experience, the one which we can see in the latest gameplay presentation. But before we get to that, I'd like to take a few steps back. I hope you still remember me mentioning a bold exception in the Hitman game series. What if I tell you that IOI already made not only a demo of 007 First Light, but also a whole game with the same gameplay approach we've analyzed? And the name of this game is Hitman Absolution. This part of the franchise introduced more linear and story-focused gameplay where the player is also forced to improvise, whether it's hiding from police or saving a girl. There were some open levels, but they were stretched into the whole story and diluted by such tense moments or even bottlenecks. Unfortunately, sales didn't reach the publisher's targets, and the game series got back to the roots with sandbox levels. Or maybe fortunately, I personally prefer the formula of Hitman 2016 and I'm just glad IOI survived. No matter how you feel about this game, it was a brave experiment with unique gameplay. But as history shows, the new trilogy with the more non-linear approach was far more successful. Perhaps players don't see Agent 47 as the main character of a story-focused game, or the story of Absolution was too questionable. In any case, the developers decided to move the series to the familiar direction. But it seems that the idea of making a similar game was still alive, and it turned out that the more appropriate person for such a game is James Bond. The banker mission made me sure that IOI can make a spy action game. They know how to provide a 007 player experience, and they still remember what they've done in Absolution. But when they released a gameplay presentation of their future game, it turned out even better than I expected. That's still the same systematic approach to the mechanics like in their previous games, but First Light is more story focused and has more bottlenecks which stitch levels together. And when I say bottlenecks, I don't mean anything bad, actually the opposite. This is the moments like the one with poisoning from the banker mission, which push the player to improvise and provide new emotions. If the last Hitman feels like an experiment lab where players can try out different mechanics and spend their time freely, then a new 007 game is like a race where you'll have to make decisions quickly and, again, improvise. This is the key word for the game, and I didn't make it up, by the way. Here is what the Chief Creative Officer of IO Interactive, Christian Elverdam, said.
We are well known from Hitman games with a lot of freedom of approach, and obviously Bond is a little bit different, but he has a really big layer of improvisation, and just he happens to get in trouble, but he also happens to have a lot of different solutions, so we wanted to capture that. But I think the biggest leap for us was to make this seamless interplay between, physical melee action and, really good shooting combat. So it feels like you have a lot of options, whether you're in an action part of the game, or whether you're more like, using your skills as a spy.
Apart from such bottlenecks, where players can use their wits and game mechanics to solve problems in different ways, there are chases, shooting, cinematic action, and a game juggles different types of gameplay to keep the player from getting bored. Also, have you wondered, why is the new Bond young? In the movies he's usually presented as a mature and experienced man, but IOI chose a different approach. The most obvious explanation is to differentiate him from previous versions. And it sounds like the truth, but I believe there is an additional reason for that. The last Hitman games and First Light share many mechanics and are made on the same game engine. But we've been analyzing the difference between gameplay representation of Agent 47 and James Bond made through level structures and situations these protagonists face. So it seems that the young, impulsive MI6 agent will help IOI to distinguish their new game from the previous ones. Young James Bond is too different to compare him with mature Agent 47. He's more likely to find himself in a situation where he'll have to extricate himself. Also, his animations and voice acting are more emotional. And looks like James Bond charisma will be more appropriate for a story-focused game than the last attempt in Absolution. The only left question is, will they be able to maintain the same dynamic gameplay in a full game, in the same way as in a gameplay presentation? But to answer that, we'll have to wait until the release of 007 First Light. For now, I'm personally very impressed by IO Interactive's work and believe that they know what they're doing. What do you think about 007 First Light? Have you played the banker mission? Let's discuss your thoughts in the comments. If you like the video and want more game analysis content, don't hesitate to subscribe to this channel. And see you on Unburied.
One day you guys are gonna have to tell me exactly what you're making down there.
If we succeed, you won't need to ask.
Wow, that bad, huh?
Worse. Because it actually sounds like a good idea, like the lesser evil. Man, I wish I'd been wiser when they approached me.
Caruso?
No, God no. No, the man's a genius, but I have met water coolers with more charisma. No, I was recruited by DeSantis.
Oh, that explains it.
Tell me about it. Men, we're nitwits.
Here, here. Cheers to nitwits.
Yeah, to nitwits.